All right, guys, we're here at Pittsburgh Fluid Film Next Gen Rust Proofing, Monroeville, PA, Irwin, PA, 724-719-7122. Real quick, I have a real good example of kind of explaining these soft products that are out now and how they were developed. Okay, so I got a 04 Dodge Cummins Ram 3/4 ton up here on the rack. I actually just purchased this vehicle for myself, and the reason I actually bought it is because the ad, I was looking for a diesel truck, and the ad actually said it was oil undercoated every year, and you know, with oil, and that was really appealing to me because I do rust proofing, so I know all about it. So my point of that is I'm going to show you how these new coatings actually transitioned from when a lot of people did oil undercoating in the 70s and 80s. So basically, back in the 70s and 80s, you could actually go, sometimes in the 90s too, you could go to a shop and they would actually spray your vehicle with oil, grease, stuff like that. The semi-trucks, it was huge. And that was really popular back then, and it worked really well. But the problem is that the EPA shut all those places down because of the environment. You know, you get motor oil dripping on the road, you could cause an accident, motorcycle, bike, stuff like that. It gets into the sewer grates, it drips all over the place. Obvious reasons why they're not going to let you do that. Now, there's still probably a couple places you could get that done, and obviously if you do it at home and you keep your mouth shut, nothing's going to happen like this guy did. So basically, what happened was, once all those types of products then in places were shut down, the rubber undercoating came back into the game, and that's pretty much what has dominated the area for the last 20 years now, unfortunately. But the soft coatings, like we have here, Fluid Film, PFC, Next Gen coatings, Carwell, NH, all that stuff, they're making a huge comeback. If you go to areas up in New England, that's all they do. You go up Colorado, that's all they do. You go up to Erie, Pennsylvania, that's all they do. So basically those products, a lot of the chemical companies, Eureka Chemical, who makes fluid film, NH Oil up there in New Hampshire, they loved the oil undercoating back then, and they hated the rubber undercoating. So they wanted to make a product that would work like the old oil undercoating, but was environmental friendly, and that's basically what we're spraying here, all the new products that are legal and work really well. So this guy got the truck off of, he actually did an extremely good job. I was looking under here, he said he coated it every year with oil and red grease, and I can't find a spot he missed. He did a really good job every year, and you know, the truck's in fantastic shape. Very hard to find a Ram like this year that doesn't have holes in the rockers and the corners and the bed, etc. I want to show you a couple things about these coatings and the new coatings and how they work. So I scraped some of the frame off on this truck. Okay, you can see here's his oil coating built up over the years. And the frame's perfect here, okay? Perfect original paint. Same up here, and I verified that it's original paint because you can see the markings here on the radius arm. So it's been working really good for him. The truck stayed in really nice shape. The downfall to doing this, besides you're going to have to do it yourself at home if you did that, is it makes an absolute mess. The oil drips, you know, all over your driveway, the road, stuff like that. Used truck, no problem, but you'd be crazy to spray motor oil under a brand new $40,000, $50,000 truck. You know, it's just going to drip, drip, and drip, and it's going to be black, you know, on your brand new truck. So the advantage to these new products that we have is they're clear. So underneath, you're still going to see what's going on. You're not going to be covering anything up. It's going to be clear. On used vehicles, if you have rust and you want to see like a black undercoating look, we could add dye. So a couple problems with oil undercoating is, I did some scraping. I'm going to show you a little better here. I did some scraping in the rear here, and the problem with the oil is it's a real thick viscosity compared to the newer products. And you can see here, when you scrape off, there's actually not a ton, but there's a light layer of surface rust on the whole rear of this truck. And the reason is, with the grease and the oil, it gets really thick, and you get a lot of road grime and debris that build up on there, okay? And it gets so thick to a point that it won't have the penetrating properties anymore, okay? And then you'll get a light layer of surface rust like this. Now this is an easy fix. I'm going to power wash this all off and redo it, and it's going to be good to go. but that was always the downfall with doing oil, is it would collect so much road debris and it wouldn't be able to penetrate anymore, and you'd actually kind of turn into like almost like a fennel coat, where it's so thick that if you're still going to get some water. You could see it's actually soaked under here. So you're still getting some water trappage back there. Now you're not going to get it in most parts of the other vehicle. You're only getting it here because the wheels are kicking up everything, okay? That's where we see vehicles rust the most. But otherwise, like I said, this truck's in really nice shape. So I'm going to show you the difference on how these products were developed. Here's an area on the radius arm. I'm just going to give it a quick coat here. It's really thick with the airless gun. Okay, now this is a clear coating. It's just going on looking milky. Now you can see these coatings, okay, they're thinner than the oil. And the difference is this has a petroleum base in it, okay? It's a mineral oil instead of a motor oil, but it's the same base, okay? But it has a ton of corrosion inhibitors in it, okay? So once this soaks in, it's just gonna look like this, okay? And the advantage is gonna you'll be able to actually see what's going on. So if you have a new vehicle, it's nice to get a clear coating because you're not gonna be covering black over anything. And, you know, and if your frame's gonna be black, it's still gonna look black, of course, but you're gonna be able to see what's going on. So, another advantage to these coatings is they're going to stay thin. So when you get a yearly recoat, or if you go every other year, you're not going to be building up as much as like the typical oil coatings. And like I said, I really like the traditional oil coatings. We just can't use them anymore. So that just gives you a kind of an idea. I just wanted to show you, this is a real nice example of someone that actually did their own undercoating with oil, with motor oil and grease, and it worked out really good. But if you're not the type that's going to lay under your truck every year and get soaked with oil, you might want to come see us. One thing that we're able to do really good is we have really good extensions and equipment to get inside. Okay, we get inside, we atomize everything, and that's really hard to do with regular motor oil. So we atomize the products so they're going to miss like fogging a cylinder inside. But generally, the products we use now were developed from people doing this. Like you could see, look how nice this frame is underneath. It worked really good. It didn't work in the back as good because it built up too much stuff. And that's kind of like why I personally like the clear. The clear, you would have seen this going on, where when you cover it up with layers and layers, you could actually have rust under there and not know it. And like I said, that's just minor surface rust. It's no big deal. So that's just an example of some of the coatings we offer. If you want to see some of our fleet vehicles, if you go on our website, pittsburghfluidfilm.com, I have a lot of videos and pictures of fleets we've been doing for over 8 years now that worked out really good. You can see pictures of the frames and the body cavities. That's another thing with the soft coatings is you can see this truck, it's really nice, but you could see, for example, just little stuff. The cab corner is still real nice. You got a little bubbles, but with the newer products, the viscosity is so thin and low that when we spray up in here, it misses so much that it's really going to get up into that entire cavity and it's going to penetrate, okay? Where like this, the typical oil works pretty good, you're just going to have a buildup of grime inside of it that, you know, the problem is that years later, you really got to power wash all this off to get it off, where the thinner coatings don't build as much. But overall, you can see this is why I bought this truck. It's really hard to find something like this that someone actually oil undercoated, and it preserved the vehicle really nice. And that's what we do here. We just use newer coatings that went through the EPA, and they don't drip. They're not going to smell. They're not going to burn on your exhaust. They're not a fire hazard. So that's just a real good example, and I hope you like the truck here. A real nice example of what our coatings could do for you, but using something clear. Like I said, if you have more questions, you could go on our website, pittsburghfluidfilm.com. All right, thanks.